Once upon a time, in a small village surrounded by hills and open land, lived a young boy named Arjun. Arjun was known to be hardworking and sincere, but for the past few months, something had changed in him. He had become confused, restless, and unsure about his life. Every day, he would start something new with excitement, but within a short time, he would lose clarity and stop. His mind was always full of thoughts, but none of them were clear. He wanted to move forward in life, but he didn't know in which direction. The problem was not that Arjun lacked ability. The real problem was that he was listening to too many people. One person would tell him to focus on earning money. Another would say that respect was more important. Someone else would suggest learning a skill, while another would say to leave everything and follow passion. Every person had a different opinion, and Arjun believed that all of them were right. So he tried to follow everyone's advice at once. Because of this, his mind became crowded. It felt like there were too many voices inside his head, all speaking at the same time, all pulling him in different directions. Whenever he tried to make a decision, he would remember someone's advice and change his mind again. Slowly, this habit made him lose confidence in himself. He stopped trusting his own thinking. Days turned into weeks, and Arjun found himself standing in the same place where he had started. He was tired, frustrated, and deeply confused. One evening, unable to handle the pressure in his mind, he walked out of the village and sat near a quiet path. He held his head in his hands and thought, "Why is everything so unclear? Why can't I decide anything?" At that moment, an old monk passed by. He was known in the nearby areas as a wise man who helped people understand their problems. The monk looked at Arjun and noticed the tension on his face. He stopped and asked, "What is troubling you, child?" Arjun looked up and said honestly, "Master, I want to do something in life. I want to move forward, but I am confused all the time. Everyone gives me advice, and every advice sounds right. But when I try to follow them, I feel lost again. I don't know what to do anymore." The monk listened carefully. He did not interrupt or correct him immediately. After a moment of silence, he said, "Come with me." Arjun stood up and followed him. They walked for some time until they reached a large market in a nearby town. The market was full of people. Shopkeepers were shouting to sell their goods. Customers were bargaining loudly. Children were running around. Different sounds were coming from every direction. It was loud, chaotic, and full of noise. The monk stopped in the middle of the market and said, "Stand here." Arjun stood there looking around. Within a few moments, he felt uncomfortable. The noise was overwhelming. Everyone was speaking at once. Some voices were loud, some were soft, some were angry, some were excited. It felt impossible to focus on anything. The monk then asked, "What do you hear?" Arjun replied, "I hear too many voices. I can't understand anything clearly." The monk asked, "Can you focus on one voice and ignore the others?" Arjun tried for a moment, but quickly shook his head. "No, master, it's too noisy. Everything is mixed together." The monk nodded and said, "This is exactly what is happening inside your mind." Arjun looked at him, surprised. The monk continued, "You have filled your mind with too many opinions. Everyone's voice is speaking inside you. And because of that, you cannot hear your own voice." Arjun stood silent. The words felt true. The monk then said, "Stay here for a while." He walked away, leaving Arjun alone in the middle of the noisy market. At first, Arjun felt even more disturbed. The noise felt unbearable. But after some time, he noticed something. When he stopped reacting to every sound, when he stopped trying to understand every voice, the noise started to feel less powerful. It was still there, but it did not disturb him as much. After a while, the monk returned and said, "Now come with me." They walked away from the market and moved towards a quiet area near a river. The sound of water was soft and calming. The air was still. There were no loud voices, no chaos, no confusion. The monk asked, "What do you hear now?" Arjun replied, "I hear only the sound of the river. It feels peaceful." The monk then said, "Now tell me your problem again." Arjun closed his eyes for a moment and spoke slowly. "I feel confused because I listen to too many people. I don't know what I truly want." The monk smiled and said, "And now, without the noise, can you think more clearly?" Arjun nodded. "Yes, master. My mind feels lighter." The monk sat down and said, "Listen carefully. Advice is not wrong. People are not wrong. But when you listen to everyone without thinking, their voices become noise." He paused and then said, "The more noise you allow into your mind, the less clarity you will have." Arjun understood. The monk continued, "Clarity does not come from collecting more opinions. It comes from understanding yourself. If you keep listening to everyone, you will always feel lost. But if you learn to sit in silence, you will start hearing your own voice." Arjun felt a deep realization. All this time, he was running behind answers from outside, while ignoring the answer within. The monk then said, "From today, listen less and observe more. Take advice, but do not depend on it. Spend time in silence. Ask yourself what you truly want, because your life cannot be decided by others' voices." Arjun took a deep breath. For the first time in a long time, his mind felt calm. That day, he returned home with a new understanding. He did not stop listening to people completely, but he stopped letting their opinions control him. Whenever he felt confused, he took some time alone. He sat quietly and allowed his thoughts to settle. Slowly, he began to understand himself better. His decisions became clearer. His actions became more focused, and the confusion that once controlled his life slowly disappeared. Not because the world became silent, but because his mind did. This story teaches us a powerful lesson. You don't feel lost because life is confusing. You feel lost because your mind is full of noise, too many opinions, too many voices, too many directions. And in all that noise, you forget to listen to yourself. Clarity does not come from outside. It comes from silence within. So if you truly want to move forward in life, stop listening to everyone. Sit in silence and hear your own voice. Because the moment you find clarity within, your path becomes clear.